start, guys. Yeah. Protectionism, chapter 38. What we call protectionism, we're talking about different government practices that allows them to protect domestic producers. That is what protectionism is about. Like government trying to protect domestic producers or infant industries so that they can also compete at the international markets. So we go further. All right, let's make it this way. What is protectionism? Most economists would argue that free trade will benefit the global economy. However, sometimes countries believe that it is in their interest to restrict trade. In the last class, we talked about international trade, right? Yeah, for international trade or that leads to globalization, it means free trade, which allows in and outflow of goods and services it allows relationship between countries. But based on what I just read now, said it is in the best interest of each economy or for each for government to protect their industry, to protect their producers. Why? Government may think it is necessary to protect their domestic producers from overseas competition. They may also give financial help to exporters. This is called protectionism. Government can use several measures to restrict trade. They are called trade barriers, and some examples are outlined. So before we go further, government wants to ensure that those domestic businesses can also compete internationally. And the only way to do that is to give them that opportunity to explore, help them financially with law, whatever you can, to make sure you protect them, is what they are talking about here. So some of the ways in which government protects infant industries, local producers or domestic producers is through trade barriers. So trade barriers will restrict international trade. It doesn't give opportunity to other businesses to come inside, to come into your country and dominate. So that is what government don't want. Government do not want foreign investors, foreign businesses to come into their country to dominate. Because as soon as that happens, your businesses, your producers the local producers become vulnerable. They will be out of business before you know it. So what are the ways in which government, are you guys with me? Yeah. So what are the ways in which government try to protect infant industries through trade barrier? The first one, here they said, reasons for, okay, now let's go. We say reasons for protectionism. Reasons for protectionism. One, preventing dumping. We talk about dumping. Dumping means when you are able to buy foreign products, importation, if the price of importation is cheaper than domestic products, that is what dumping is about. Do you get what I just said here? Yeah. When the prices you pay for imported products are even cheaper than the same product which is made domestically. Normally, imported products should be expensive than domestic products, isn't it? Yeah. But at the point where the imported products are more cheaper than domestic products, then we call it dumping. Do you get what dumping is here now? Okay. So here they said the government may use trade barriers if it feels that an overseas firm is dumping goods. Dumping is where foreign producers sell goods below cost in a domestic market. They may do this to deliberately destroy overseas competitors. In some cases, businesses that dump products are heavily subsidized by their government. Consequently, they have an unfair advantage over foreign rivals. Most of these businesses that do dumping, what happens is this? They have subsidy from government. That makes it cheaper for them to produce. Get the point. Not that these things are so cheap, but they want to ensure that foreign businesses buy from them. For example, China. Goods from China might be so cheap. Same product from America becomes expensive. You get the point? Yeah. So what is China really doing? China is waning off or taking away competitiveness or competition from American products. So how are they able to cope? They are able to cope because the government of China is subsidizing for Chinese producers. Yeah. So that's why they are able to sell at a cheaper rate to foreign customers. That is what the point is about. Do we get it or not? Yeah. So with dumping, if government feels that, oh, these certain products from a certain country is dumped into their country, this makes it to be cheaper. That will affect the consumption of local products. So domestic products will not be selling because imported products are even cheaper than domestic products. So this means with no time, within a short period of time, domestic producers will be out of business. They won't be able to compete. You get the first point. Yeah. The second point, protecting employment. As soon as businesses, domestic businesses are out of business or they are out of operations, what happens to their employees? They are out. So government is not just helping the producers or the local producers. Government is helping the nation by protecting employment. Because if local businesses are able to, to sustain and become successful, they will be able to employ more workers. If they are able to operate on a larger scale, they will also be able to employ more workers. So if government is trying to use trade protectionism, it's because they want to ensure that employment opportunity increases or continue to improve in their country. That's protecting employment there. Do you get it? Yeah, they said trade barriers may be used if domestic industries need protection from overseas competitors to save jobs. So they need to save the jobs. If not, if foreign businesses dominate the local market, then local businesses will be out of the market. And this means those that are employed through these domestic producers will be out of jobs, increasing the unemployment rate in the economy. Do you get the point, guys? The third point, it is often protecting infant industries. It is often argued that infant industries need protection. Infant industries are new industries that are yet to become established. They are still trying, they are still struggling. They are new. They need to get their stand too. So these industries need to be protected. If not, they won't be able to they won't be able to stand the test of time. The test of time, sorry. So what will government have to do? Government must protect them. If government is protecting them, this encourages even other producers, other entrepreneurs to set up in such countries. Yeah. But if the ones that are setting up are not being protected, it discourages others to want to set in. So that means the output in that country will be falling. Do we get the point, please? So you have to say, okay, here. So many argue that infant industries should be protected here until they can grow, become established and exploit economies of scale. However, it's also argued that this approach may not be successful because government have a poor record of successfully identifying infant industries with potential. The problem is this: government workers, government officers are not economists. They are not politicians. They might get the job based on bureaucracy. Yeah. They might get the job based on influence. So these, because they are not experts, they might not know those industries that have potentials. Because they are not economists. They are government officials. So how will government judge the industry, the businesses that are going to be successful in the future? Because it's you see the end from the beginning. Do you get the point I'm making here? So government might not be able to pinpoint those businesses that they are supposed to support becoming a waste of money, waste of resources. Yeah. Do you get the point? That is the argument against protecting infant industries. Not all infant industries will be successful. Not all infant industries will grow. So why are we putting so much effort? Why are the governments putting so much money on these industries that are not going to grow?
Unless they use specialists to judge the potential of the industry.
Definitely. That's why we have different ministries anyway. That's why we have the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Commerce, the Ministry of Aviation, to put, to use their expertise to know what is needed within the industry. But most of the time, the problem is about, especially the African countries, they don't put the right people at the right position. Yeah. They put square pegs in the round hole. So that's why it's difficult for those government officials to be able to take decisions that will lead to the success of the business. Do you get the point? Yeah. The next point is to gain tariff revenue. What are tariffs? These are taxes on importation. So government also use trade restriction to gain more revenue from foreign businesses. It's a source of government revenue. Do we get it? Any question about that?
No.
Preventing the entry of harmful or unwanted goods. Another reason why governments would try to use trade barriers is to prevent the entry of harmful, that means the importation of harmful or unwanted goods, goods that are demerit goods. So government could use trade protectionism to stop those goods from coming into the economy.
Yeah.
Do you get it? Do you get it, please?
Yes.
The next point is reduce. We're talking about reasons for protectionism here. I hope you guys are with me.
Yeah.
The next one is to reduce current deficit. Current deficit will come as a result of what? More importation than exportation, isn't it? So if more imports is done in an economy, the balance of payment current account will be on deficit. So to correct your balance of payment current account, government needs to what? Reduce importation and encourage what? Exportation. Is it clear? Retaliation. Reasons why businesses do, or reasons why government do not want to use trade protectionism is that if the Libyan government stops or restricts the Turkish businesses to export their products into this country, the Turkish government will do the same to the Libyan government. That's what we call retaliation. Do you get the point I'm making here? Yeah. So protectionism might be as a result of retaliation. Maybe the Libyan government is retaliating against what the Turkish government has done.
Yeah.
So that is why they are restricting or banning or making quotas on what is coming from Turkey.
Yeah.
Just like an example, I'm not saying Libyan government has a problem with the Turkish government.
No, I understood. Right.
I think it's clear.
Yeah.
All right. Any question up to now?
No.
All right, we'll move on. Tariffs. So when we talk about tariffs, we already said the tariffs are taxes on importation. I think that is clear. There is one way to restrict trade is to make imports more expensive. Because with tariffs, prices of importation becomes higher. So this discourages consumers who always want to buy imported products. So this makes them to start purchasing or patronizing domestic businesses.
Yeah.
Do we get it? Any question about that?
No.
So that's about tariffs. Quotas. When we talk about quotas means we are quantifying the amount of imports. Sorry. The country is quantifying the amount of imports that should come into the country. Do you understand what quota is?
Quantifying, like
quantifying, you
putting
numbers, numeric figures. They're saying, oh, you cannot import more than 1,000 bottles into Libya. Yeah, putting a limit. Thank you. I like that word too. Limiting the numbers or the quantities of products that can be imported into a country.
Yeah.
Is it clear? That's quotas. We're talking about different methods of protectionism. I think you get it. So they could use tariffs, they could use quota, subsidies. Why would government use subsidies? They said quotas and tariffs aim to reduce importation. Another approach to protectionism is to give a subsidy to domestic producers. So if government is trying to discourage importation, they must as well encourage local producers. If not, the demand for goods and services, the local producers might not be able to meet up with the demand. That is why it's important for government to subsidize. With subsidy, it gives local producers the motivation, the incentive to produce more, to increase their output, yeah, or their, what's it called? I want to say their scale of production. Do you get the point?
Yeah.
With subsidy, local businesses will be able to increase their scale of production. So yeah, so they can exploit the economies of scale. Because as soon as government stops importation, they should start to encourage local producers. If not, consumers will be clamoring, they will be crying, they would want more that the local businesses will not be able to produce. There will be shortage in the market. So that is why it's important for government to also subsidize. That is the importance of subsidy here. Is it clear? Subsidy here is to encourage domestic producers to increase their scale of production. Is it clear?
Yeah.
So we go to the impact of tariffs, quotas, and subsidies. So based on this graph now, let's see what they said here. They said for tariffs and quotas, what happens with tariffs and quotas? For tariffs and quotas, this reduces importation, or this increases the price of importation. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as soon as government increases tariffs or reduces quotas, as soon as government increases tariffs or reduces quotas, the supply of foreign products will shift leftward from S1 to S2. Do you get the point here? Do we get it or not? So I can explain further. Look at the graph here. The impact of tariffs and quotas on the supply of goods is this. As soon as government increases tariffs, that means taxes on importation. As soon as government increases taxes on importation, the supply of imported products would shift leftward. Yes or no? Shifting the supply curve left from S1 to S2. And the quantity supplied in the market of imported products will contract from Q1 to Q2, increasing the price of imported products from P1 to P2. Do you get it now or not?
Yes.
Is it clear? Then we'll go to subsidies. What happens with subsidies? With subsidy, domestic products will be able to have a reduced cost of production. That increases the supply curve, that increases supply of output, or that increases the quantity supply in the market.
Shifting
the supply curve from rightward from S1 to S2.
Yeah.
At the same time, the quantity supplied in the market will expand from Q1 to Q2, leading to what? A fall in the price of products from P1 to P2. Any question about that?
No.
Clear, right?
Yeah.
So go to the question immediately. Which of the following is a reason for protectionism? Say it out, please.
Let's see, prevent dumping.
Prevent dumping, yeah, thank you. It's prevent dumping. Be sure and say it out, okay? The question 2. Which of the following is a method of protectionism? Quota, thank you. So we're done with that chapter.
What's the
VAT, value added tax. Value added tax. It's an indirect tax. Taxes on consumption. We call it ad valorem tax. Any question again?